Welcome to KindCast. I'm your host, Chasmith, and I'm so happy that you are here for a little good for our day. Happy Monday. Every week, this community continues to amaze me. More and more of you are sharing your stories of kindness, and I truly believe we're building something special together. A growing collection of the everyday moments that remind us just how much good there is in the world. Today's story literally melts me and honestly brings happy tears to my eyes. It is such a beautiful demonstration of the compassion that we all possess and just how thoughtful people can be when we follow those little nudges to make someone else's day. And it all starts with a family vacation. Actually, a big family vacation. 27 people, if we're talking numbers, all joining each other for an entire week, making memories. And out of the entire week's worth of adventures, there's one small moment that ends up meaning absolutely everything. Not just to a little girl, but to her parents, and even to the woman who created this magical moment. So one afternoon, 6-year-old Helen is at the beach with her family, and her dad, Michael, start digging a giant hole in the sand, pretending that they're searching for buried treasures. Eventually, they take a little break, and Helen wanders off to play in the water, and there's this older woman nearby with a cane. Her name is Ginger. As Helen is playing in the ocean, preoccupied, Ginger quietly stands up, walks over to the hole that Helen had dug, and slips one of her own rings into the sand. Looks over at Michael and his wife, Liz, with a smile and whispers, "Shh." And then she casually returns to her chair. A little while later, Helen comes back to continue her treasure hunt, and wouldn't you know, she finds a ring. And as you can imagine, 6-year-old Helen, who thinks that she's just discovered buried treasure, was absolutely beside herself with excitement. She couldn't believe what she found. She was squealing with joy, showing everyone her treasure, completely convinced she'd uncovered something magical. Meanwhile, Ginger sat in her beach chair, quietly smiling and chuckling to herself, watching Helen's excitement unfold. A little later, Ginger walked over to Helen and asked her, "What did you find?" And the two of them start chatting together, and then they start playing together. And before long, they form a genuine connection. At one point, while Helen is distracted, Ginger does walk over to the parents, Liz and Michael, and tells them how wonderful their daughter is and how much she just loved watching her enthusiasm and how much joy it brought her to just be a part of that magical moment. She then shared with them something that stopped them in their tracks. She explained that she had terminal cancer that had spread throughout her entire body and had been told that she likely only had about 3 months left to live. She said that planting the ring for Helen and getting to witness her joy had been one of the highlights of her entire trip. Can you imagine hearing that? Helen's mom, Liz, told me that she felt overjoyed with emotion and that it was just the most beautiful moment. Here was someone carrying such heavy news and yet choosing to spend part of her day creating joy for a child she never even met. And the story does not end there. So the next day, when the family returned to the beach, Helen spots Ginger from a distance and runs straight towards her, calling out her name. The two of them end up spending more time together, playing, talking, laughing, and even taking photos together. By the time the vacation was over, Helen told her parents that meeting Ginger had been her favorite part of the entire trip. And here's the sweetest part. Helen didn't know that Ginger planted the ring. That wasn't what actually made Ginger so special to her. It was because Ginger spent time with her and played with her and saw her and made her feel important. The ring created the moment, but Ginger's heart created the memory. I honestly can't stop thinking about this story, not just because Ginger planted the ring, because that alone is beautiful, but because she had even thought of the idea to do it in the first place. I really believe that all of us experience little sparks like that throughout our lives. An idea, a gentle nudge, a feeling to do something kind for someone else. And yet so often our minds step in and talk us out of it. We wonder if it's too silly or awkward or unnecessary, or we can't afford it, or we're not capable, or it's inconvenient. But what if we followed those little sparks more often? How many magical moments might be waiting for us on the other side? As always, I'd love to hear your stories. Have you witnessed an act of kindness this week, or has someone created a magical moment that has stayed with you for years? Head over to ourpoweriswithin.com/share to tell me your story. It may even become a future Kindcast episode, and there is a link in the show notes. Until next Monday, keep noticing the good, keep creating the good, and keep following those little sparks. XOXO.